Hello, Wanderers, and welcome back to Chiara's Slow Travel Adventure. By now, you should already know that traveling is definitely my passion. I've done quite a bit of it, and especially when it comes to low budget, slow traveling, and long term traveling, I am quite the expert by now. But if you know me a little bit, you might already know that I am Italian, and you might be wondering at this point, why is the Italian always talking about places that have nothing to do with Italy? Because to be honest, when it comes to traveling, everywhere I go, people tell me,
Oh my goodness, you're from Italy. You're so lucky. Italy is so beautiful. It's my dream to travel there. I always wanted to go there at least once in my lifetime. I can just imagine myself strolling down the streets of Milan with a bag in my hand and just do shopping, walking down the beaches on the seacoast, or maybe just soaking in the countryside of Tuscany.
and so on. I've heard people dreaming about traveling to Italy so much. So at this point, you might be wondering, why am I never talking about Italy? Why am I never giving advices on how to travel Italy or the best places to go, or in general, why do I never, almost never travel in Italy, although I'm in Italy already? Well, that's a good question. Today I'm spilling all the tea about the big secret of why I do not actually enjoy traveling in Italy that much. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and let's get into it. So here's the big secret. I've been traveling for a long time, and whether it's long term or short term, most of my trips will be abroad. So, yes, I do not travel much in Italy. My most recent trip in Italy has been last October. However, I would normally pick another country. For instance, the next break I will get, I am planning to go somewhere else. And if you want to know more about my plans for my next trips, stay tuned for it in future videos. So here's the thing, when it comes to Italy, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind before visiting the country and even when you live in it. I wouldn't even need to consider things like insurance or flights or any type of travel in most cases. All I would need to do maybe is to grab my car or take the train or the bus or whatever and travel within my own country. So that sounds way more convenient than having to, I don't know, travel all the way on the other side of the planet to Asia, for instance, or to the United States or to Canada or Australia, for example. Sounds a better deal, right? Well, actually, not necessarily. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Italy. It's my beautiful country, it's my homeland. Everything here is actually quite great if you think about it in a traveler perspective. We've got it all. We've got the arts, we've got the food, we've got the history, we've got the fashion. We've truly got it all here. However, even if I love all those things and I love traveling to these beautiful countries, there are just some setbacks that every time I consider makes me stop and consider it twice. And at the end of the day, I would probably pick to travel abroad. First up is the coast. You would think that for an Italian to travel Italy would be quite cheap, right? Well, wrong. Places like Rome, Venice, or Florence, for instance, especially Florence, recently have skyrocketed their prices. Just the idea of having to have a meal or to pay for lodging or just even a simple gelato or a coffee, the prices now are so inflated, especially in big touristic places and areas, that even for an average Italian, that's just not accessible. That just sounds simply like a scam. And when you travel, you're always considering your budget as well. Because, yes, of course, you travel all year long, you save on the budget, and you're happy to spend it on your traveling. However, you don't really want to be scammed or cheated into paying highly inflated prices just for a coffee. In pretty much any cafe in Italy, a coffee would cost you around €1, €1.50 50. However, if you get a coffee, let's say in the main square of Venice or Florence, it might cost you up 4 and €5. Like, guys, that's like 3 times its actual price. That's crazy. And I'm not even talking about a high quality coffee, and you might understand it. But having to pay 3 times the actual price just because of the location, that sounds like cheating to me, sorry. A gelato in Rome in the main touristic areas might cost even 7 euros, but guys, an ice cream, a gelato in Rome in the suburb will cost you around 2 euros. 2 euros. Like, do you see where I'm coming from? It's just crazy. And no Italian would ever want to pay such a price for just a gelato that you can buy pretty much everywhere. Next is the tourist trap. Guys, this is one of the things that just gets me mad every single time. As locals, we sometimes feel like we're cheated when places, touristic places, are designed just to take advantage of you and visitors. Whether it's tourists or even locals, sometimes places that try to scam you on paying very high prices for things that are not worth it, or maybe tours or places that offer some kind of great experience and that's actually not the case. As local, this truly gets me so freaking mad every single time. And I'm not talking just about the site scammers. Sometimes even restaurants, hotels, or local tours will try to scam you into paying high prices for some very cheap and very basic experience. And that just drives me mad. So freaking mad every single time. And guys, I don't say this lightly. I'm Italian. Sometimes this just feels like it's the Italian aptitude. To give you a short story as an example, I was recently traveling between Bologna and Florence to do the Camino degli Dei. If you're curious about it, stay tuned because I will make a whole video about it in the future. And what happened was that day was strongly raining and we had to hike through the mountains, so the situation was not the best already. And I once again lost the sole of my boots. Guys, this is a personal curse, so don't think that I just cheap out on boots, just my life on it. And what happened was that once we reached the closest town, the closest village to the place we were supposed to reach that day, which was just about 5 kilometers away from our final destination, we decided to call the owner of the accommodation to ask them if they could pick us up. They just said,
"Yeah, sure, no problem. Of course, it's just 5 kilometers. I will just come by to pick you up once I finish my job."
And so we waited. We went to this small little cafe or snack bar and we had some food. And then finally, after 1 hour, the accommodation owner came to pick us up. And so we asked if there was a shoe shop or shoe store around the area. And the place was indeed not too far, maybe 2-3 kilometers from where we were. He said,
"Yeah, there is this store. It's quite big, so you can definitely find something to substitute your boots."
and he offered to take us there. So we're talking 2-3 kilometers, right? By car. We went with him, we bought these shoes. I was as quick as possible because I didn't want to make him waste any time. I was so glad that he helped us because I would have really found it difficult to travel even those 5 kilometers, or it might have been difficult to travel those 2 or 3 kilometers more to get to the store. I was so ready to write the best review of my life because he had been very helpful, very friendly until the moment we had to pay. And then I discovered that for each one of those rides, we paid 25 euros each. Now we're talking about 5 kilometers in a small rural area where there was no traffic, no difficulty. We could have waited for the bus, for example. And in all honesty, I'm not even complaining about having to pay. Not at all. I understand it's a service. However, if I have to pay for a service, if this service is something you're not just doing out of the goodness of your heart, which happens. I had so many situations where people just help me out of the goodness of their hearts. I would personally have done the same. So what bothered me was that they did not say anything until we had to pay. It could have just been,
"Oh, no problem. Yes, I can come to pick you up, but this service will cost you 25 euros.
and I would have said, okay, no problem, because we're stuck, we're in a difficult situation. Maybe I would have said, okay, then in that case, I'd rather wait for the bus or whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyways, what really truly bothered me is that method of trying to always cheat you into paying more, into paying without knowing that you have to pay until it's too late. That is what truly bothers me. And believe me, guys, I'm not saying this lightly. I love my country, I love my people, but unfortunately, this situation happens so often in Italy. And this is so disheartening because it's a country I love, it's my homeland. And having to say this about my fellow citizens is not nice at all. But I want to be honest with you because when you travel Italy, I have so many people telling me that they had this or that bad experience because this situation might happen. So my advice for you here is always make sure that you're super clear about what you have to pay and how much you have to pay for each and every single service. And if there are not many details about it, I would advise you to pick another place. I'm not happy to say this, guys, but I'd rather say it and be out there and having people know rather than having people come here in Italy and say, oh,
I had a awful experience. I'll never be in Italy again.
because this happened. It might happen. I advise you to always be careful. Be mindful of yourself and follow your gut. Then there is the issue of overcrowding. Now, it doesn't matter if it's the Colosseum or if you want to take a gondola ride in Venice. By now, doing those things in Italy, there is no shoulder season anymore. There is no off season. There is no time where you can easily say, travel and visit the Colosseum in 1 hour because it takes hours of queuing or a lot of booking in advance just to visit certain places. And even taking a gondola ride, once you have to do it with hundreds of other people or other gondolas going around, it just makes me lose the magic. It just doesn't feel like we're experiencing the authentic vibe of Italy that as a local I know, and also as a traveler you might want to try and experience. I'm sorry to say that especially the most touristic areas, and I'm thinking Milan, Rome, Venice, Florence, all those places tend to be so overcrowded all year long that you kind of lose the magic of it. You expect to travel Italy and you expect to feel that Italian vibe, the relax and chill vibe, but actually all you see sometimes are all those overcrowded places where you don't get even the space to enjoy a picture. Have you ever tried to take a picture of the Fontana di Trevi? There's, unless maybe during the night, you could try 3 in the morning. Otherwise, all you take is a picture of you in the crowd. And the fountain, keep looking for it. And let's not forget the budget constraints. Unfortunately, the entire tourism ecosystem in Italy is geared to just make profit out of everyone and everything. It truly leaves very little room for low budget or budget friendly options. If you're a family or a young traveler, Italy might not be the right choice for you. Everything is so expensive. I've recently considered the option of visiting Venice after so many years. And because I'm from here, it takes about maybe 2 hours train for me to go there. I thought, okay, maybe I can invest in just one night in a hotel. Guys, I think the cheapest place I found was 380 euros per night. The cheapest place. 380 euros is half the price I paid to travel to Asia. Literally, my most recent flight to Asia costed me 780 euros. Therefore, you see where I'm coming from? Why would I want to invest unless I'm into luxury, unless I want to invest because I want to go in a very luxurious place and be treated like a queen for a night? But having to pay 380 euros for a room, just any random room to sleep one night, it's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense. It makes me want to think, okay, if I want to visit Venice, I will just do it in a day. But I would definitely not spend that much money just to sleep for one night. There's so many more things that I can do when traveling with all that money. I think I can probably live 1 or 2 weeks in Thailand with that money, accommodation and food included. Another big issue, in my opinion, is over-commercialization. Unfortunately, by now, a lot of places have become literally touristic theme parks. So many shops turn into souvenir shops, and small restaurants became literally a touristic shop where everywhere you go, all you can see are those very stereotypical checkered white and red tablecloth. And instead of offering a good carbonara in Rome or a nice cacio e pepe, you find all those recipes meant just for tourist taste instead of the actual genuine taste, which I understand where they're coming from. Everywhere you go, you might find these kind of situations, but you can also find a more authentic vibe, a more authentic taste as well. In Italy, many places now are just for tourists that pay maybe 20 euros for a pasta dish that will cost maybe what, 7 normally? And it has truly nothing to do with the genuine local taste of the area. And the genuine local charm gets diluted so much that it just doesn't feel right anymore, that it just feels like walking a theme park that where nothing is real. I'm thinking Las Vegas, you know. Try to go to Las Vegas to visit the Colosseum. There is this sense that sometimes the real Italy is hidden away so much that even us, as locals, we cannot find it anymore. Of course, there are definitely some tips and tricks to help you still find that hidden Italy because it's still there, it still exists. It's just a little bit harder to find. And in my next video, I'm talking exactly about that, the best Italian hidden gems and about the best tips and tricks on how to not get scammed or cheated, how to keep your budget low and still having a great experience in Italy. Because guys, all I want is for people to go back to their own country and say,
I've been in Italy. It was beautiful. It was great. I want to go there again.
nobody likes people visiting their own country and say, oh, you know,
I went to Italy and I was hoping to have the best time of my life, but instead I got cheated. I went to this place. It was so dirty. It was so bad.
nobody wants to hear that. Believe me, especially as a local, I don't want to hear that. I want you guys to visit Italy and have the best trip of your life. So next video, I'm talking about the best gems when it comes to traveling Italy, hidden gems that you can still find because they're still there. They're just very much hidden away. And the best tips and tricks on how to visit my beautiful country without getting cheated, without having to pay overpriced, and without having to feel like you're just walking in a theme park. The famous Italian vibe, the bella vita, the style of living that it's all about enjoying the moment. The Italian picture of you just sitting in a cafe, sipping your cappuccino while having a cornetto is actually still possible. It still exists, believe me. It's just a little bit harder to find. So don't give up on Italy. If this has always been one of your dream destinations, don't give up on it just yet. And just stay tuned for my next video about the best hidden gems in Italy and how to travel this beautiful country worry-free and budget-friendly. So I'll see you guys in our next Italian adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out my next video. I'll see you guys there. Ciao!